Radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer. It causes 6 times more deaths than house fires and carbon monoxide combined. Living with radon is like smoking 10 cigarettes per day, and it gives no warning signs. But the good news is it can almost always be fixed. Okay, so we talked about black mold from leaky water pipes inside the walls of your house, or leaky dishwashers and refrigerators and sinks and toilets and water heaters and washing machines and leaky roofs. It's very, very common. Then we talked about how millions of people are getting sick from mold growing in their carpets, plus dust mites, plus the 40 million skin cells we shed every day into the carpet that get stuck under the mesh that vacuuming cannot get to. People don't want to hear any of this stuff, which is why those videos didn't get a lot of views and people continue to get sick and they wonder why. They don't want to listen to that stuff. But for those of you who don't want to stick your head in the sand and live in denial, I am here to make you aware of things and do something about them. So congratulations, those of you, the few of you who are watching these kinds of videos, because this literally can change your life. So if you're one of those few people still watching who's serious about your health, there is one other thing to consider that many people don't know about, and that's radon. If you have a basement or your house is highly insulated, which most houses are nowadays, very tightly insulated, you'll want to know about this because radon is a silent killer. But there is something you can do about it, and that's why I'm making this video. And I'm giving you this information for free. No signing up to anything, no paid consultations, no groups you have to join. I give you this information for free. All right, radon is a naturally occurring radioactive gas that forms when uranium in the soil and the rock slowly starts to break down. And it comes up through the ground and normally just dissipates into the air when you're walking through the woods and stuff like that. It's like no big deal. The problem is when it comes up through cracks in the foundation of your home, and every home has cracks in the foundation, no matter where you are, it goes up into the cracks, it goes into your home, and then has nowhere to go because people nowadays live in highly insulated homes. And it collects first in the basements and the crawl spaces and then the lower levels, and then it makes it up to the higher levels. You can't see it, you can't smell it or taste it. So a house can have a very serious radon problem and look perfectly fine, and clean and normal. When people breathe it over many years, the radioactive particles can damage your lung tissue, and it's the second leading cause of lung cancer overall. And the number one cause for people who never smoke. People who don't smoke wonder why they get lung cancer. This is the number one cause. The danger comes dramatically higher for smokers because cigarette smoke and radon multiply each other's damage. That's, you're just doubling your issues. Anyway, different areas of the country have different levels of radon in the ground. There are all kinds of radon maps online that you can check your area. If you're walking around outside, the average open air levels is maybe up to 0.4. So here we are outside. This has been outside for the last few days, and you can see the level is just 0.1. That's really, really good. The average home in America has a level of about 1.3. It's not that great, but it's the average level. I highly suggest you get a radon meter like this. I have 4 of these, and I place them all around the basement and the house. It tells you in short term, like 1 day, and long term readings, like a week or a month, because radon levels fluctuate a lot from day to day, so you need to wait a week to get a really good weekly average. 1 day it's really low, next day it's really high. Between 2 and 4 is the seriously consider fixing it area, because there is no truly safe level, and the EPA says 4 and higher is the level where action should definitely be taken. When I first got this house, the levels in the basement were between 5 and 7. Now, you would think simply opening windows and running a fan would solve the problem. Well, it's not that easy. When I did that, the levels actually went up. And the reason for this is when air moves over a surface, it actually creates a low pressure area that pulls on that surface. In other words, the air movement is actually like a vacuum cleaner pulling radon out of the ground into your house. Radon levels change all the time. Like some days there's a lot coming out of the ground, and then some days there's very little. It changes like the weather. In fact, the weather directly affects how much radon comes out of the ground. Wet weather can temporarily push more radon into the house because soaked soil, when it's wet, traps the gas underground, and the pressure changes make your house the easiest place for it to come up through and escape. So on the flip side, like the bone dry areas with loose desert soil like where I live sometimes let radon vent off into the outside air more easily, which may reduce how much gets forced into the house, unless you have a basement like I do. Barometric pressure makes a huge difference. Like low pressure pulls it out and high pressure keeps it in the ground. So windy days are the worst because all that air movement sucks radon out like a vacuum cleaner. So radon levels go way up on windy days, which is exactly when people close their windows. So it fills your house like a gas pump. All right, so what do you do so you're not affected by all of this? Well, the good news is it's usually very fixable by drilling a 4-inch wide hole through the concrete slab that your house is built on and sticking a 4-inch PVC pipe in that hole with a fan hooked up to it that pulls the gas from under your house and vents it safely above the roof before it can enter your house. All right, this is what it looks like. There is a hole drilled in the slab and this pipe is going underneath the house. It pulls the air up here. This is the fan. It's pulling the air from underneath the house up, beyond, up by the roof. There's a manometer on the side, which is what this blue liquid pipe is here. This shows you the pressure of the air outside and the pressure being sucked in out of the ground. So this tells you the status of how well it's working. I had 2 of these put in because my house is kind of big. Some houses only need 1. These systems can often reduce radon by 80 to 99% when designed correctly. Like I said, when I first got this, the basement was 5 to 7. The first fan I got lowered it to between 2 and 4. So it cut it in half, but I still wasn't happy with that. So then I got a more powerful fan, and then it went down to between 0.2 and 0.3. Big difference. This is good. Professional mitigation companies do this all the time. It costs a few thousand, but that's nothing compared to the cost of getting lung cancer. Like, don't keep putting this stuff off. You know, charcoal filters and air purifiers, I know some people are going to ask about that. They're not a real fix because the gas is being produced under the house 24/7 and constantly leaking in through the slab cracks, the pump pits, the pipe gaps. You know, you have pipes under the house and a lot of those are cracked and the radon goes into those pipes and then those pipes go up through your house. So it's just an easy way for it to get in. So anyway, you know, and your drain system. So using a carbon filter is like trying to mop up water while the pipe is still leaking and shooting water everywhere. You know, the moment the purifier slows down or saturates and becomes radioactive or gets turned off, the radon level climbs right back up. You know, air filters try to clean radon that's after it's already in your lungs' breathing zone. You know, a mitigation pipe stops it before it ever enters the house. I mean, you could pressurize the room by blowing air in, so the house has a slightly higher pressure than the soil below it, but then you can't even open a window or a door or turn on the bathroom or kitchen exhaust fan. That's why sub-slab depressurization wins. Instead of controlling the entire room pressure, it lowers the pressure under the slab itself, so radon then gets sucked into the pipe and vented straight up to the roof before it ever enters the room. Every house has cracks in the foundation because the earth settles, it moves, and the weight of the house is pushing down. You know, foundation is only like this thick, and it cracks. You know, everybody's got cracks on there. Even new houses, after a month, they've got cracks in the foundations. So the weight of the house is pushing down and cracks the slab with all kinds of little cracks. And obviously, you could rip up all your flooring, get rid of all your furniture, rip up the flooring, and seal the cracks. But that's kind of impractical. I don't think anybody wants to do that. Right? Who wants to do that? So what you want to do is create a low pressure vacuum that draws the gas out of the soil under your house before it gets into your house. If you have a basement or a sump pump or a drain pit, those are the first places to start because those are the lowest places in the ground. Seal them up as tightly as you can and get a radon mitigation pipe installed. Another good news is the half-life of radon is about only 3.5 days, which is really, really short as radiation goes. It's kind of weak. But if you are exposed to it nonstop all the time inside of a box that has nowhere to go, it accumulates. And that's when the problems eventually arise. And you don't want that. If you have been exposed to radiation of any kind, including X-rays, I highly suggest lots of seaweed, not just because of the iodine, but because seaweed contains a substance called algin, which binds to heavy metals and helps carry it out of the body. Cilantro also binds heavy metals, so I suggest juicing lots of cilantro. Healthy probiotics help, so eat lots of cultured foods like sauerkraut and kimchi. Charconite helps, and remember to drink lots and lots of water. So, a simple PVC pipe and a fan can save your life. Don't cheap out on stuff like this. This is for you and your family that you love. Get a radon meter. That's where you start. At least get one of these so you know where you're at. You don't have to listen to me. Look it up yourself. Look it up online. I'm just here to make you aware of most of the things that people don't think about and wonder why they mysteriously get sick. This is a big, big issue. It's very common. People have no clue why they're getting lung cancer and breathing problems. Watch my video about carpeting. Watch my video on black mold in your house. Watch my videos on eating healthy, the importance of getting sunlight and moving your body and working out your muscles, because these are your insurance policy. These are the things that keep you from getting very sick and slowly falling apart for the last 30 to 40 years of your life. I want you to have the healthy life. I want you to know what it's like to be truly alive.